So welcome class to our session. So our session for today will involve the topic inflation. So learning objectives for today's topic is first, memorize formulas involving inflation, and then we are going to use cash flow diagram that is essential for solutions to the problems, and then solve problems involving interest, inflation, as well as discount. So let me begin with defining what is inflation. Well, inflation is actually the decline of purchasing power of a given currency over time. So meaning the 20 pesos before will be different to the 20 pesos today. It is actually the rate of increase in prices over a given period of time. So of course, if there will be a decreased purchasing power or a decreased worth of your money, there will be a corresponding increase in price. So for a commodity, we can express the future cost and the present cost. Remember that this pertains to a certain product, goods, or services. So FC refers to the future cost of a commodity, and the present cost of a commodity. F is the annual inflation rate, and the N is the number of inflation period. So let me explain this in a concrete examples. In year 2000, a pansit batil patong would cost 20 pesos. Today, your pansit batil patong, the same pansit batil patong would cost 5 20 peso bill. So in short, the price before is 20 pesos, and today you can afford to have a pansit batil patong in 100 pesos. So what's the meaning of that? 20 pesos before, or the bill in 2000 would not be equal to the 20 pesos right now. And the 20 pesos before, or in year 2000, that would equate to 5 20 peso bill. And your 20 pesos before can buy 5 pansit batil patong. So we can draw a conclusion from this that the worth of money in 2000 is superior than today's. And inflation rate is used to quantify the purchasing power of money over time. And a decreased worth of money equates a higher price of a commodity. So inflation, we have a formula for buying power of money. So what was introduced a while ago is the cost of a certain commodity. So this time, it pertains to the worth. So F and P as well as F and N are involved here, wherein F is the future worth, P pertains to the present worth, and F is the annual inflation rate, and N is the number of interest or the inflation period. So if there will be a compounding interest at the same time inflation rate is occurring, we will just have to include 1 plus I raised to n in the numerator for the original formula of the future worth relating to the present worth. So the same notations. So interest rate will be involved now. And if we need to get the effective interest rate considering the interest rate as well as the inflation rate, we have this relationship wherein the effective interest rate would be equal to I plus inflation rate F plus the product of interest rate and the inflation rate. So F is the inflation rate, I is the cost of money, or it is the interest rate, and I is the effective interest rate. So let us put that into problems. So first we have an item presently cost 1,000 pesos. If inflation rate if inflation is at the rate of 8% per year, what will be the cost of the item in 2 years? So here we need to use the cost of the commodity kasi ang tinatanong dito is the price or the price of the item which was 1,000 at the present time. So therefore, FC or the future cost considering an inflation rate of 8%, we'll just substitute that in the formula, the 1,000 pesos and the 0.08 inflation rate as well as the duration of 2 years. So we will be having the future cost will be equal to 1,166.4. So notice here that the price of the commodity before is 1,000. After 2 years, it would become 1,166.4 pesos considering an inflation rate of 8%. So there is an increase of the price of this commodity. So another problem, an economy is experiencing inflation at an annual rate of 8%. If this continues, what will be 1,000 pesos be worth 2 years from now in terms of today's pesos? So this problem is involving the worth of money, but not specifically the price of a certain commodity. So basically, we are going to use this formula for the future worth and the present worth, which involves the inflation rate. So we'll just substitute the worth on today's peso, 1,000, divided by 1 plus 0.08, or the inflation rate, that will be raised to 2. So therefore, the future worth of 1,000 is now decreased to 857.34 because of the inflation rate. So moving on to the next problem. In year 0, you invest 10,000 peso in a 15% security for 5 years. During that time, the average annual inflation rate is 6%. How much in terms of year 0 will be in the account of maturity? Say if we have here a compounding interest occurring while there is an inflation rate, we are going to use this formula. We'll just have to substitute. The present worth is 10,000. The inflation rate is 15%. And the inflation rate is 6%, and the interest rate is 0.15 or 15% with the common number of periods of 5. Therefore, your 10,000 pesos will amount to 15,030 pesos 0.003. So notice that this investment should be feasible in a sense that after 5 years, the worth of money becomes 15,000. So there is a gain of 5,030 pesos and 0.03 centavos. So another problem, a man invested 10,000 pesos at an interest rate of 10% compounded annually. What will be the final amount of his investment in terms of today's pesos after 5 years if inflation remains at the same rate of 8% per year? So again, this is a problem where the interest rate is simultaneous with the occurrence of an inflation rate. So with that, we are going to use that formula, substituting the values. We have 10,000 as the present worth, 0.1 is the interest rate, and 0.08 is the inflation rate, with a common number of periods of 5. So therefore, F is equal to 10,960.86. What if we're going to interchange? So I'm gonna set my I to 8% and F is equal to 10%. So notice that the inflation rate this time will be greater than I. So applying our formula, we will find out that the future worth decreased over 5 years because the inflation rate is greater than the interest rate. So what would be the lesson? For a good investment, it cannot be that F would be greater than I. So let us move on to the last problem. So this time, if the inflation rate is 6%, cost of money is 10%, what interest rate will take care of inflation and cost of money? So this is just a direct substitution of the formula, which involves interest rate and inflation rate to get the effective rate of interest. So here, we just substitute, we will arrive at 16.6%. So that's all for this session. So thank you for listening and have a good